So what stage was, I guess, the project in when you first came here?
The project has been going on for over 10 years, probably. Students looked at the project, staff has looked at the project for many years, and it was really kind of just getting all the everything aligned when it comes to financing, also finding who's going to be in the building. So the programmatic stages have been pretty expansive for the past 6 years.
Okay. Now, what has the process been since you came and started working on the project?
Really kind of identifying who's going to be in the building. At one point, we were going to take out, in addition to the Commons and topping, we were going to take out Stonier Hall, Hazel and Stanley Hall, and the YWCA. And so the footprint was going to be much larger. But when construction costs continued to increase, the scope of the project kind of was scaled down some. So actually identifying who was going to be in the building, where the University Club was going to be there, the Emeriti Center, food service, that was really kind of the stages that we've been in for the past several years.
Okay. Who had the final decision on who would be able to occupy the building? Is that you, or?
No, not me. I think it's the senior administration of the campus. So we worked with an architectural firm to do the program. And with a program, we would actually find out how big a space needed to be and how much it would cost to build that space. So we did that multiple times until we got it right.
All right. So you said that the idea of the project sort of came about 10 years ago. Why do you think it's taken 10 years to actually have this idea come to fruition?
Lots of reasons. I mean, I think because it's in the center of campus, it's a very complex project, and taking down two buildings that are in the center of campus but still retaining all the services that the campus needs. So it's been a very intricate process of making sure all the ducks are aligned in a row.
Okay. So the fact that it's in the center of campus, what's I guess the ultimate goal of this new campus center?
Well, like I said earlier, it's really kind of helping to build a stronger sense of community on campus. So developing a place where people can hang out, where you can grab a cup of coffee with a faculty member, where you can actually study with one of your friends, see a concert. I mean, all of that will be kind of right in the center of campus. So it's kind of developing, food service, outdoor places, lounges, really kind of a community center for the campus community.
All right. Now, Jason was saying you've worked on building other sort of campus centers before. Did you borrow some of those ideas that you used at other places and incorporate them here?
Yeah, I mean, I've learned some things along the way, some things to do and not to do. Yeah.
Can you talk about sort of what's been different about this process than the other processes you have been involved in?
In the other processes on both the other campuses in West Virginia and Cal State Los Angeles, we weren't building from scratch. We were taking an old building and restoring it or adding on to it. So the opportunity to actually start from a clean slate was really interesting about USC, and the fact that we could do that right in the center of campus and among the historic buildings. So developing something that fits architecturally within that was very intriguing.
Now, when you first got here, were you sort of appalled that the school of this size and this magnitude didn't have a bigger, bigger student hub or something?
I was shocked. I mean, and I think that when I started researching the history of USC, the Student Union building that was built in the 20s was probably one of a very early student union, and it had like a soda shop, it had the bookstore, the cafeteria. So I think that we had a student union at one time. But yeah, this is a much grander space.
All right, so talk about, for instance, I talked to the people over at KSCR who are going to move into the new campus center. Mm-hmm. Whose idea was it to bring this radio station into the new center?
Well, KSCR is a part of my work portfolio, so it's an area that reports to me, like the Lions Center and other areas. They're in a pretty dismal space, if you've seen their space. So the opportunity to carve out a space for them in the campus center was all of our hopes. So I think it'll be a great addition to them.
Okay. So you talked a little bit about how the costs of construction have gone up. What's the ultimate cost you think going to be of this new campus center?
I have no idea what the final cost will be.
Are there projections?
None that I've really seen. I know that we in turn were working on, when we worked with the program and the architect initially, we had a target of what that was. But then, added on to that was the admissions center, the alumni center, and food service. So,
Okay.
it's probably over $100 million, the building.
And how are we gonna, or where is most of the money gonna come from, at least?
The university will pay for it. Unlike other schools that you may be familiar with, like the UC system or the CSU system, students actually are taxed. So, like we're taxed in our home community to pay for the libraries and the firemen, in those campus structures, they in turn tack that onto tuition as a student fee. Here at the university, and actually there's a donor, a named donor for the building. So we're also doing lots of development as well that will develop a ongoing endowment for the operations of the space.
Okay, now, I guess, obviously it sounds like a great new building, but have you heard any, and if so, what are some complaints you've heard?
I guess the only complaints I've heard are people who will be, they're feeling somewhat inconvenienced during the time of construction. So hopefully we've done lots of things to mitigate that, where it comes from, by the time you get back in the fall, the temporary food service facility will be up and running and probably better than what Commons is now. We're in the process of moving all the student life offices currently. We'll be done with that in mid-April. So the only complaints I've heard is really kind of like, what about me during this construction? So hopefully we've anticipated some of those, and we'll kind of that won't be a problem.
What are some of the new places not in the temporary one, but in the overall new campus center, what are some of the new food establishments that are going to be there?
Hospitality Services is working on that now. So there's a food court on the first floor that has 5 food concepts. And they haven't selected the concepts yet, but there'll be like a hamburger place, there'll be an Italian place, there'll be a Mexican place, there'll be an Asian sushi place. They'll have a convenience store where it'll be like kind of a grab and go, more like a Whole Foods, like the deli section there. There's an upscale restaurant very similar to Upstairs Cafe, with outdoor dining underneath the trees. And then there's a coffee shop on the second floor as well, sort of like a corner bakery type place.
The campus center is projected to open in summer 2010. Mm-hmm. How confident are you that that's going to come on time?
I'm confident. I mean, California doesn't have a lot of weather delays like other places I've worked. So I'm confident. I mean, the capital construction has had a good track record. We will be up and operational by fall 2010. So when you come back for your classes in fall, we'll be ready for you.